everyone. A very happy new year to you all and welcome to this 2026 round of EdTalks. And I think the one major concern that every parent and student has today is about how to stretch the dollar. What is the return on investment? So we have with us today Dr. Rajiv Jhangiani, who is a Vice Provost at Brock University. And I think, will discuss all about return on investment. Right?
That sounds good to me, yeah.
Yeah. Rajiv, so what do you think a student going out from India to study in Canada, what can he expect in terms of return on investment?
Yeah, I think it's an important question. I speak as somebody who was a former international student as well, going from India 30 years ago. I think there's a few things to think about. I mean, one is, you want to make sure, and obviously my university is an example of this, that are the programs developed with the labor market in mind, right? So for example, we recently launched an integrated engineering program. So for people who want to go into leadership or management in engineering, you don't have to then focus on one stream or another. You're exposed to all. So are the programs developed with the labor market in mind? Are you, for example, looking at co-op opportunities, internships that are paid, in fact, a working experience by the time you graduate? So not only do you graduate with Canadian education and Canadian work experience, but you're actually earning money along the way as well, right? So that's another huge boon to look at. But then also you want to look at things like, cost of living. And of course, outside of the major cities, cost of living is substantially lower. And of course, coming from Indian rupees, you want to think about things like that. Quality of life, yes. Cost of living, absolutely. And maybe the last thing to think about is places, again, like Brock, for example, that have the benefit of a flat fee model, right? So you want not just return on investment, but you want a predictable investment. So if you know that, this is the amount you're going to pay, and this amount is not going to change year on year until you graduate. So I think those are some of the factors to consider. And I think there are universities that take those factors very seriously, which I think is a reasonable thing for parents and students to think about.
True, and I think you also offer a lot of scholarships up to 32,000 Canadian dollars, right?
Absolutely.
So that's another thing which helps with the financial accessibility, right?
Definitely. And in institutions like ours, in addition to the general entrance scholarships, you'll also have scholarships very specifically. So we, for example, I oversee the co-op program, and we have a special scholarship for students who are international students enrolled in a co-op program as well. So additional pieces beyond the entrance scholarship as well.
Yeah. In fact, Rajiv, a pattern that we've been noticing for the past 2 years, actually, students deciding, okay, let's look at other country options. Let's look at other destinations. So students have been choosing to go to study at other destinations. But what I'm noticing now is those students are actually writing back to us saying that, can we now go to Canada? Why do you think? Are you noticing anything like that?
Yeah, we're seeing similar things. I mean, right from, students who are coming from countries where English is a subsequent language, let's say, and they take ESL and then bridge to undergraduate study, or maybe they transfer after a year or two of undergraduate study elsewhere. I think part of what we're seeing is, look, things are a lot clearer now with policy and the invitation and the door being open, coming to Canada and studying in Canada. But I think students are also thinking about long term, where do I want to live? What is the quality of life? What is the opportunity? Is the economy strong? Is the AQI low? So there's lots to think about in terms of where you want to live and how you want the rest of your life to be. And I think, what we're seeing is Canada continues to be top-ranked country in the world in terms of a place to live, quality of life. And so that's why, for our students as well, we sometimes offer opportunities like this dual degree opportunity, where it's co-op programs where students come in and earn a business degree at Brock, but they'll take a year and even do a co-op term at one of our international partners, whether it's in Ireland or Germany or France, and they actually graduate with a degree. It's a dual degree from our university, Brock, and the international university, work experience in both countries, but then a pathway, for example, for immigration in Canada as well. So there are ways to satisfy both of those needs. But yeah, we're seeing clarity and a move back towards Canada as a destination.
Do you think that's also because of the policies now actually settling in? People are understanding what Canada wants. They want genuine students. They're actually looking at a strategic movement of students who are going to be successful when they reach Canada. Is that why students are now again getting back into looking at Canada as their destination? Or
I think so. I mean, I think, the nice thing is it's institutions that are doing a wonderful job, that are focused not just on how many students can we bring in, but what is the quality of the experience of students coming in, right? It's not just international students as a benefit to the university.
Right.
It's the university also benefiting in a broader sense with the internationalization. So, calibrating the level, you don't want to sort of, overwhelm the campus with international students. So it's not really a Canadian university experience either. So high quality, I think, is also part of that, or part of that calibration. The availability of amenities like on-campus housing. We have 8 residences, for example, at Brock, lots of housing. So I think it's a few things. It's amenities available, it's campus supports available. And again, it's the quality of that experience. It's not just international students for the sake of revenue. It's international students because they add value and diversity and benefit the university community more broadly by bringing in those perspectives and experiences.
Right.
So it's a two-way street over here. It's not the university alone benefiting, the students benefit as well.
Also, students do worry about employability. So, do you think that Canada, having announced clear labor market, shortages in which areas,
Yeah.
do you think that that's also helping students to now think clearly what kind of program they should study? And let's look at Canada as a study destination. Employability is key right now to their decision making.
Yeah, and I think even at the ministry level, at the provincial government level, when they approve new programs, one of the things they look at is labor market outlook and where is the need, right? So we don't need yet another program in general studies, for example. So thinking and pushing students to think about in a more nuanced way. Where do you want your career to go? What do you want that life cycle to look like? And you may have more than one career in 2025 onwards, right? It's not quite the same as it was 30 years ago, but how is that set up? And so, yeah, I think labor market is a big part of it. For us, obviously, and I oversee co-op education, career education, we're very proud of the employability rates of our students. The 98% satisfaction. Our employers tell us that they're thrilled with the quality of our graduates. And if you see the number of our students who are hired repeatedly by the same firms, whether it's a Big 5 accounting firm, whether it's the Ministry of Transportation, and even post-graduation, they want to keep them. Right? We constantly have these events on campus where employers flock to our campus to hire our graduates. So yeah, labor market is a huge part of it, but it goes into what program is being developed, how are students being trained and exposed to that work experience in the course of their degree program, and then what is their success post-graduation as well. And one of my favorite parts of the year, and we have this celebration of our successful co-op students once a year, is the number of our former co-op students who are now working professionals, of course, who are now our co-op supervisors. Because they're so thrilled, they know what the experience was, and so now they have now flipped to the other side where they're coming as former alumni now and hiring our students as co-op supervisors. So I think the reputation of programs like this really sets apart institutions like Brock, but it all comes back to that basic question, right? What is the difference you want to make in this world with your intellect, with your skills, with your energy? And does that have a fit with what the economy needs and what can drive things forward?
Right. And I think you are a supreme example of a successful person who went to Kerala 30 years ago, studied there as an international student, and got your postgraduate work permit, got your PR, well settled now, you're provost of a very good university, public university. So what's your message to students who are now looking at study in Canada?
Yeah, well, I appreciate the kind words. I feel a sense of a real connection and ownership over here, right? Because I identify very much with the journey that many students in India are contemplating going on, or their parents are thinking about. And I have 2 boys and thinking about, it's such a big decision. You want to make it informed. I think I feel like I made some good decisions along the way, but the things that actually made a difference that I would look back on is, do you feel like you're at a place where you feel part of a community, or do you feel like just a number? So to me, I would say things like, think about the environment more broadly. Is the place a place where community feels real? Is there supports? For example, at Brock, we have incredible supports. We're number 1 in the country for mental health supports. But even right now, around Christmas time, for example, this is just a small illustration. We have our Home for the Holidays program, where international students who are not going back home for the holiday break are invited into the homes of the staff and faculty of the community, right? They made them feel a part of that community. I think about not just the reputation or ranking overall of the institution, but think about the ranking of the program that you're in, right? If you're looking for a top sport management program or a business program, for example, I'll tell you, Rock is fantastic, right?
Yeah.
But be more specific about not just rankings overall, but your program ranking will tell you the quality of the experience. Think about the teaching and learning experience again, right? And in my portfolio is teaching and learning, so I'm very proud to say, Canada's highest recognition for post-secondary teaching is known as the 3M National Teaching Fellowship, and Brock has just earned its 14th, which is way more than most institutions in the country, right? So these are the things you don't think about necessarily, but think about community, think about the quality of teaching and learning. Are you going to be able to connect directly with professors, get that mentorship, get that support? Are you going to get those opportunities for internships and placements and co-op experiences along the way? So as I said, you graduate not just with Canadian study experience, but with work experience as well. So I think these are some of the things I would think about, because you always think about, the reputation of the school. You think about the climate and all of this. And again, Southern Ontario is really, a lot nicer than going, further north or far out east, for example. But you really want to think about what your life is going to be like, because when you're apart from your family, do you have community? Do you have a strong, for example, we have a wonderful Indian Student Association. We celebrate Diwali and Holi together. We have an intramural cricket league that we started shortly after I got to Brock as well. I was really thrilled to see the Brock Cricket Club doing so well now.
Okay.
But what is your life going to be like on a daily basis? And I would really think about that in addition to program ranking, for example.
Awesome. So if you really want to stretch your dollar, you want great return on investment, Canada is a great study destination. So go, go, go.